Hey, so if you're watching this, you're interested in making video games and looking for the first step in that journey. And uh, with all things you want to learn, it usually starts with a book. So um, the first book that you should probably look into is some kind of game design book. And now the pile of game design books out there is pretty huge. So the one that we've chosen today is Level Up by Scott Rogers. He's somebody both myself and Mike have met. He's been a supporter of ours and, dare I say, even a mentor. Um, so we wanted to have a discussion about these chapters in the book. However, you're not going to understand anything we're talking about if you don't read the book. So you got to get the book, read the book, and this compilation of videos is just kind of a good companion and deep dive into the topics of the book. And for me to just sit here and talk to myself would be weird. So I have a buddy
Mike,
over here, Mike. Hey, Mike, how's it going?
good yourself?
Living the dream, man. I make video games for a living. How much better does it get?
Can't get much better than that.
Nope. So actually, you know what is a good place to start with this is you and I have actually, so this is the third edition of Scott's book, and you and I go as far back as reading like the first edition of the book.
Yeah, give or take.
And the second edition of the book, and now we've read the third edition of the book. Even when we were in school. So before we get into like the topics of chapter one, just overall, what do you think of Level Up?
It's a very good book to start with, for good guidelines, right? Before you go breaking them, right?
Yeah, actually, that's an excellent point because something I learned early on in my life is you got to learn how to walk before you run. And one of the features of running is like you can learn the rules of how everything is done, but when you get really good at things is when you learn how to break those rules or bend those rules. Maybe not break the rules, but bend the rules a little bit. And you can never break all the rules, and you can't bend all the rules. But every once in a while, you can take one of those rules and bend it or break it a little bit. Having said that, if you don't know what the rules are, you don't know what rule you're going to break or bend. That's what makes this a great starting point. What are the rules? Here they are. There's literally like, I don't really think I care what your opinion is on game design books. You could probably make a huge case for what's not in this book, but Mike, could you say there's anything in this book that's irrelevant, unnecessary, or just plain useless?
Ultimately, in the broader spect of everything, it covers like fair general scope of everything, right? So it's pretty good there. It even gives you a cool chili recipe at the end. I mean, but
Yeah, it actually has a chili recipe in the end of the book. So if you're wondering why a game design book has a chili recipe in it, you're going to have to read the book. You want to know why there's a chili recipe in the book? You have to read the book. You know what, Mike? You know what? I think that's going to be the last video of this series. We're going to have to make that chili and eat it on stream, I guess, right?
Yeah.
We know what we'll do. We'll tell Scott that we made this whole video series. I mean, he already knows that I'm doing this. I asked for his blessing to like make a companion video series to go with this book, and he was totally cool with it. But what we'll do is we'll make this chili one day, and then we'll have Scott join the video, and have him like watch us eat the chili.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Anyways, let's talk about chapter one. So chapter one is called. So first of all, the chapters are called levels. Okay. So going forward, level one is called Welcome Noobs. Now, if you're getting comfortable and getting ready to hear us read the chapter to you, you're wrong. We're not going to do that. However, just like most educational books, it starts with, a little gaming history. So, Mike, where does your gaming history start?
Well, first I started I started playing with the Atari back in the day.
Oh,
Then,
really?
well, yeah,
I didn't know that.
that was yeah, no, that was the first console I got to play games on back in the day.
You're way too young to have been playing Atari. So you were not playing Atari in its heyday, though. You were playing what was already an outdated retro machine if you played Atari.
No, well, not sure if you heard that, but
No, but
back
Atari was out of production before you were born.
it was the original.
Yeah.
Um, uh, anyway, from there, right? That was that was when I lived in actually Thorold, so I was like 5 or 6 at the time. So and then obviously then afterwards, right, I played, with friends. They had like all the NESs, the Segas and things like that at friends' places while I until I got an N64, which was my next jump up.
It's a huge jump
Uh,
up. It's like
yeah,
literally from every game being an outer space themed game, jumping up to 3D graphics and 16 polygons per asset.
yeah. Well, we played a lot of games at friends' places, right? That was the benefit of like the NES and everything, right? Your old couch co-op back in the day, right? So,
GoldenEye.
yeah. Oh yeah, that was some good time. Quit screen watching. No.
Um, well, yeah, me too. Like my first console was the Atari, but mine was brand new from the store. Um, it was a new thing, and I was instantly addicted to like Missile Command and Defender, but um, Adventure always fascinated me. So if you don't know Adventure, that's the game that they show at the end of the Ready Player One movie. So when I first saw that movie and saw that game being featured in the movie, I was just like, "Whoa, my God, what a blast from the past!"
No,
But
for sure.
yeah, and I've had them all. I've had them all from Nintendo to Sega and Genesis and Super Nintendos. I even had an N64 for one weekend and hated it so much that we returned it and exchanged it for a PlayStation. So that was when, between the transition between Super Nintendo and N64, the N64 lasted us one weekend and we were over it. We were like, this is terrible. We had finished Mario Kart in like 2 days. Star Fox we beat in like 4 hours. We were like, this is lame. So we traded it all in for a PlayStation, and I did not own another Nintendo console again until the Wii came out.
Wow.
So yeah,
I had a GameCube. I went from actually I went NIS 64. I got the PlayStation, played some SOCOM and all that fun stuff. Then
right, SOCOM with the headset and talking to your
yeah,
crew. What an amazing game!
yeah, that was a classic from then. Yeah. Then I got PlayStation 2, and then I worked up to the GameCube, then the Wii, and then I think I skipped the Wii U and went to the Switch.
A lot of people skip that Wii U. I did not. I had the Wii U as well. The second that I had an option to go Nintendo with HDMI, I was all over that Wii U. Um, a PlayStation 2. I mean, everybody had a PlayStation 2. It's still today the number one selling console of all time.
Got one of my favorite games, Dark Cloud 2, that I like to always go back and play the single player there.
Right. You know why the PlayStation 2 is like the best selling console of all time?
Why?
Because essentially it was the cheapest DVD player on the market. So it actually made no sense to buy a DVD player even if you didn't play video games. The PlayStation 2 was cheaper than a DVD player. The only weird thing is you had to have the remote to like use the DVDs. So it was wired.
Yes,
Remember, it's not wireless yet. So
Yeah.
you could buy a remote, but that was like an extra $60. Who had that?
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, best memories of PlayStation 2 probably Monster Rancher was a great game series where you could put other discs in to generate monsters from. Crazy cool concept. And of course, Final Fantasy X. I'm a Final Fantasy nut. I've played them all, beaten them all. So Final Fantasy X for me was the big deal. And the biggest deal about Final Fantasy X was the first time we got a Final Fantasy game with voice acting, which was a huge deal because up until that moment, you had to read everything. Yeah, so that's our video game history. Scott's video game history, for anyone who's wondering, I like to call him the godfather of God of War. So Scott Rogers was actually on the team who produced the original PlayStation 2, on the topic of PlayStation 2, God of War. And Scott designed, if I'm not mistaken, Scott designed the combat and the tutorial stage. So Kratos' famous weapon from that game was Scott Rogers' baby. So godfather of God of War. He's also responsible for Pac-Man World, which has been re-released countless times. And he's also responsible for an incredibly hard game, one I love. Very underrated in my opinion. And I'm not just saying that because I'm biased, but the Maximo games. If you're not familiar with Maximo, are you familiar with Maximo, Mike?
Only through the reading the book. I haven't actually played it. I really should pick it up and give it a good playthrough at least once.
I own them both, so anytime you want to, I can totally loan them to you. So the Maximo games are a spiritual sequel spin-off to the Ghosts and Goblins games. So if you ever played Ghosts and Goblins, you know those games are infamously hard. And Scott Rogers is lead designer on Maximo, and they are also hard. But since we're talking game design, one of the things that makes the Maximo games important as far as design goes is they're probably one of the first games to have a hub world or an overworld. So basically you finish level 1, and when you get out of level 1, you're brought into an overworld. So at no point are you shown like an end stage screen. You know, like traditional video games back in the day, Mike, if you remember when you finished a level, you would see like, you know, here's the completion time and the score earned and lives remaining and like maybe some other stats and stuff. And then the next stage loads. In Maximo, that doesn't happen. Instead, you get loaded into a hub world or an overworld that you can also explore to try to find the entrance to the next world. So with a little bit of finessing and stuff, you could almost essentially play the game out of order, and you can revisit levels. So you could go back to other levels and explore further, find secrets and things, which makes it kind of like, you know, if we wanted to categorize linear games and open world games, it sits right in the middle of like the stages are linear, but the game is kind of open. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if I had to compare it to another game just to give people an idea of what it is I'm trying to talk about, imagine Super Mario 3 or Super Mario World, right? So I always come back to Mario as an example because who hasn't played a Mario game? And if you guys remember those overworlds, but Mario is locked to a path, right? You remember like Mario's locked to a set path. Every once in a while there might be a fork in the path and you can go do world 3 or level 4 instead, right? Imagine if you had that, but you took the path away and Mario just walked around, going wherever he wants to go, right? That's what the hub area was like in Maximo. Cool. Let's touch a little bit on some different genres of games. I mean, there is a huge list of genres, and rather than go through the whole list, right? Because, you know, if you want to see the whole list, just get the book. And if you're watching this, you probably already have the book. But instead, is there a genre there you'd like to talk about? Maybe a particularly favorite one, or maybe a misunderstood one that you'd like to explain better? You think a lot of people get mix up or misunderstand?
Let's see. Ultimately, they're a little more like broad, right? You know, you got your, you know, action, and then typically I like a action adventure where you put them together, but right, type idea, right? So, you know, and then you've got, you know, obviously I also like the survival type games, or the, you know,
Yeah, you and I are
basically,
suckers for those survival crafting style games.
yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah. Anybody who is about to take a trip down this road and learn how to make a game design document, which is at the core what this book is about: how to craft and make a game design document. Um, yeah, maybe avoid a survival game for your first one, because um, I've seen a couple of game design docs for survival games, and they can get into the hundreds of pages just on the crafting systems alone. Like, it's really easy to get lost in that rabbit hole of creating items for crafting and stuff. I mean, you can if
Yeah.
you want to, but yeah.
I haven't seen a whole lot of people do like even real-time strategies for some of their GDDs. I haven't heard a whole lot about that genre lately. I used to play a good lot of StarCraft and Warcraft back in the day, though.
Yeah, it's a little bit, I always kind of felt like a Warcraft 4 was kind of time for a Warcraft 4.
Or even we haven't seen. Maybe I guess there was the Age of Empires that came out not that long ago.
Yeah.
Uh,
And they
uh,
did re-release like Warcraft 3.
yeah,
Yeah. I do love anything with some good strategy. I'm a huge sucker for Civilization style games. Um, I like a good card battler game as well, right? Magic the Gathering, always fun to play online. Um, but let's just one last genre let's talk about real quick, because it seems to be all the rage right now is the roguelike. Right? Like, it seems to me today, as we record this, every game is trying to find a way to, like, what does a roguelike version of this game look like? Um, Balatro last year was nominated for Game of the Year. If you don't know what Balatro is, it's just a 16-bit card game, but with roguelike features attached to it, which just make it crazy fun. Um,
yeah.
are you familiar with the roguelike genre, Mike? And do you have any titles that you enjoy from that?
I've had a few roguelike games. I just can't think of them off the hand from like Steam. See here. It's been again, like the dungeon ones, like typically, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
Diablo. I happen to know you're a fan of the Diablo stuff.
yeah. So that was one. Torchlight. I did play a little bit of that. Uh,
Hades
I
looks
think there.
really interesting. I feel like that's one worthy of a playthrough. I have yet to try it.
Yeah.
Or I guess Hades
Uh,
2 now.
yeah. There's Hades too. Yeah.
Thumb through the genres in the book, and maybe write down like two or three um, genres that interest you, something that you might be interested in pursuing for your game design document, right? So if you like racing titles, and put down a good racing genre. If you like rhythm games, and write down rhythm. Don't limit yourself. Put down all the genres that you feel like you would enjoy designing a title for. Don't cut yourself short yet. There'll be time. Um,
Just avoid MMOs and MMO MOBAs and things like that that have lots and lots of items.
well,
For right
MOBA is
now.
not too bad, I guess, but I mean, and on the surface, no, by all means, design an MMO or even a strategy game. But for our purposes, for your
Yeah.
first time out making a GDD, those can be some deep, deep games to get into. So try a little bit of a lighter one, right? Like, learn to walk before you run, and even then, maybe learn to crawl before you walk. Um, yeah, absolutely. All right, so there you go, chapter 1. You got anything else you want to add before we?
Do we want to cover people who make the games?
No,
No.
I mean, there's lots of different jobs involved on a game design team, but I don't want to drag this video out too long. If they want to know who's on the team and what their role is and what their job is, again, just read the book.
Fair
Um,
enough. Or 10 class.
yeah, I mean, personally, I consider myself a designer. Um, I consider you a 3D artist, so that would be the roles I would think we fit in if we were on a
Yeah.
team off that list, right? Am I wrong?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Little level design, 3D artist.
So yeah, where would you like to be? So consider that while you're reading too, right? What position on a game design team do you think you might fit best into? I can promise you, whatever you think it is now will probably change by the time you get through this course, anyways. Um, because
Or the book.
or even maybe even the book. So, all right. Well, thanks a lot. Get reading chapter 1, and we'll see you again for another video for chapter 2. Say bye, Mike.
Bye, Justin.
You're supposed to say bye, Mike.